aspect of it, which in and of itself could create more value in terms of employment than the entire industry, is the opportunity for our young IT professionals to create the software that makes the games. Because one of the things that creates a lot of value internationally are different and new games. Types of gaming machines. And that is just a function of the intellectual property of the individual. So you could get 6 or 7 guys or girls from up at the University Hall, put them in a room and just say, design a game. And if you design that game, patent that game, and it takes off internationally, you can understand the stream of revenue that comes from that. That's just one of the opportunities. I know you didn't ask for it this way, but that's just one of the opportunities that is now here and present. And as such, I'll throw the first question to the panel. Gentlemen, specific to the VLT industry, at this point in time, what do you figure is required to continue the growth in the industry? Mark, can lead off? You can press here. Mark, that's your question, so I'll illustrate to Rory. Just press the one to your left. Yes.
First of all, let me thank you for the opportunity to at least hear some of our concerns and probably give some suggestions of how we could be assisting to develop the industry. My biggest hurdle at this stage is that when I had reviewed the amendment of 2010, there were classifications in this gaming industry that had two classifications of licensing. It was 1 to 19 and 20 to 150. The first category had paid a fixed taxation. The second category paid 10% GPT. Well, in trying to extract some more taxation, which is good, nothing wrong with that. I mean, bring a little equity into the market, please. The first classification was probably paying $5,000 per year per machine. The second, you can pay up to $500,000 per annum on a machine. So it is reasonable for the government to reclassify. In doing the reclassification, they changed the definition from machines to seats. Meaning, in the original classification, you could have had 19 machine, multi-station, times 12, which would give you 228 seats, or even more, because they are bigger multi-station machines. That would mean that in changing that classification, whoever had 150 automatically would be breaching, because they could have 140 single stations, 10 by 12, 120, that's 260. So I think the amendment was done with that in mind and brought the classification up to 225. Otherwise, they would, this is how they would have regularized all of those in that sector. However, I don't know if this is an oversight, because I made an application in 2010 prior to the changing, which was in May. I actually didn't have the license because of the red tape and the bureaucracy, so I didn't actually start operating until after 2010, June the 22nd. Under the old classification, I only have 100 licenses. I only have 100 machines. But under the new classification, I have 150 seats. Automatically, all those people that were in that classification before has gone up to 225. Well, I have been notified by letter from the VGLC of the increase. However, when I responded and pointed out to them that I did not start operation until actually 2011, I got another letter informing me and apologizing for any inconvenience it may have caused, because I am still within the 150 category. It would certainly be in all of our best interests, both in the industry and in mine, as a developing company, because as small as we are, I am blessed with a young, hungry, aggressive, workaholic team that has propelled me to possibly the most vibrant gaming floor in the island. However, I am still operating with 66 2/3% of the license. I think, Mr. Minister, with your intervention, you could look into it to see if there's an oversight, if there's anywhere we could be assisted. And it also holds true to the people that formerly had 19, because a 19 license now has become redundant, because 2 machines of 12 each has exceeded 19. So they would have to be possibly giving them the category of the 52.
Yeah, well, actually, Rory had asked for opportunities to expand, but you elaborated there. I'll answer your position pretty quickly. You have done right. You've done a pretty good job of explaining the background in terms of the changes as we go along. And the fundamental point really is the change from a machine to a seat. Now, the bigger issue is that we are currently considering making a recommendation to both ministers about an overall master plan for gaming. And I'll tell you why. You have certain jurisdictions, for example, the Singaporean experience, that had a lot of gaming lounges and relatively smaller players. What they did with their casino solution was actually to eliminate all of those licenses, to give the casinos virgin territory. So what they chose to do was to maximize their casino license and IRD, the ability to build out the development, by saying to the casino operators, you will not have any competition of any sort. And that's the direction they went. They now have 2 casinos whose gross is actually bigger than the entire Las Vegas combined. That's what they have done. We're in a situation whereby we have given licenses for gaming lounges, horse racing, etc. And now we're going down the road of seeking operators for casinos. Now, it's very likely that a casino operator is going to say, but we have all of this competition already out there. I don't think I'd put a recommendation to the minister to say, let us eliminate all the current licenses. But at the same time, we have to be cognizant of how many additional seats we're going to license across the island, because each additional seat that we license is going to reduce the potential size of the investment on the casino aspect of it. And I'm saying that to you not to say we can't look on the individual cases, but to say that we have to look on the overall picture to see how we can balance both sides of the coin. So it's not Rory or Macau specific. All right? But within the context of that, Brian, I don't know if you see any other opportunities within the industry.
Certainly, as I said, the question of how we deal with internet gaming and how we tax it, because internet gaming can generate revenue. We had an approach from a company outside of Jamaica who wanted to use Jamaica as a platform to be able to offer gaming as far as China. And we spent some time trying to figure out how do we manage that, and certainly how do we report and regulate. I think that Jamaica may have to consider whether it wants to establish more of an open border philosophy when it comes to the virtual casino business. Because as you rightly said, there is going to be a limit to how far you can expand the land-based lottery business. And therefore, I would have to say that we would have to shift focus away from land-based lotteries more into the virtual lottery market.
I'd like to debate on that a little bit. For the internet.
So when I don't ask you, you talk.
No,
When
man,
I ask you,
I
you
like-
talk. Okay, I just want to make sure. I was trying.
Because
No, I'm trying to
I have
understand.
to shake his hand.
Right.
For a year, I have been asking Mr. Shirley about the internet gaming.
Right. Yeah, before you continue, right, I'm just trying to explain to everybody how difficult it is, the job that we have, right?
No
I asked
problem.
Rory for a specific thing, and then he spoke about something else. Then I asked Brian for something specific. Then he spoke about internet that we're not dealing with yet. I know you gone to the internet.
Yes.
Okay, fine. You go right ahead.
No, man, you may go ahead first.
No, again, guys, what you're actually demonstrating is, in one breath, the opportunity that exists in the industry.
Yes.
There's so many different facets of it. Internet is the next stage,
Yes.
right? The gaming industry that some people feel is saturated, there's still a lot of growth and potential there.
Yes.
And that's fundamentally what worry is indicating.
Can I just say one thing?
Sure.
I think personally, I think we have to be careful not to be using internet as an industry in and of itself.
I didn't even have internet in the
I didn't
session.
say that, but I'm just saying. So it's difficult for us to talk about any segment of the lottery, gaming, VAT business without internet leading into it. Because internet as an enabling technology will have an effect on us regardless of what segment of the lottery industry we find ourselves playing in. And that's why it keeps coming up over and over. Yes.
Right.
That's true.
And fine, because again, trying to get back to the Hamilton doctrine, right? How that is. In terms of the opportunities that exist, somebody approached me after seeing the debate in Parliament and what was in the papers. The issue of mobile gaming. When we speak about combating illegal gambling, how we're going to go about dealing with it. The position is that you have people that are walking around Kingston, Montego Bay, and other cities, selling whether illegal cash pot, horse racing, 2 marbles rolling down a hill. Now that we have changed, we have amended the act to allow for mobile betting. We have 3 representatives here. How do you envision taking the opportunity providing therein? Can somebody who usually have say 50 friends that they would invite over on a weekend to watch the World Cup, can they come to Supreme or to Macau or Treasure Hunt and get licensed as a mobile operator and sell bets in his home to his friends?
Well, ensure that minors under 18, with technology on a rise right now, how are we going to ensure that they are not text betting?
You see,
So hold on. That is why Treasure Hunt Gaming, we would apply for a license if my directors would, but that is going to be a big fee on us if you find out that a 12-year-old was betting.
Yep.
These kids nowadays, they are so technological that it's hard to avoid text betting for kids that's under 18. How is it that we will solve that situation before we go forward with it?
the beauty is that I'm the regulator. You're supposed to give me the answer. But, Brian,
Let's not confuse responsible gaming from responsible parenting. Because at the end of the day, for a child to be able to bet using text or phone or internet betting, the assumption is that they will have access to an account. And the assumption is that they will have access to an account which is registered in the name of an adult. If you allow your child, you can't place everything on the regulator. Once the regulator can put the rules in place, I think it's important that we understand that this industry is also self-regulating in many respects. And it expects of people, just as we talk about problem gambling, etc., we also have to talk about the parental responsibility of ensuring that children underage do not utilize bank accounts or registration processes to do that services. It's no different as locking a phone on your TV.
all right, I'll just make one last attempt, if you guys could. I'm going to throw it out to the minister. Or let me just straight out to them. Do we have any questions for esteemed panel? Hopefully they'll answer your question. They haven't been answering mine. Any questions for the panel? Yes, Wayne, go ahead.
This question is to you.
Identify yourself, sir.
Oh, I'm Wayne Stewart,
All right.
member of the public.
Good.
Just want to know, what's the size of the gaming industry from the BGLC perspective? I know Brian was giving me some data, 60 million. I don't know if that is a study that was done by Supreme, and 10 million for sports betting. From the gaming, betting, gaming, and lotteries point of view, what's the size of the horse racing industry? What's the size of the gaming? What's the size of lottery? What's the size of sports betting in total?
Jack? We don't have the specifics here, Wayne, but it wouldn't be too far off what Brian has actually presented. One of the things that we're seeking to do is information like that, industry statistics. We want to start populating our website with that type of information. And one of the things you'd find is that in our annual report, we tend to give that information. So what we do, we can get in touch with you after and provide it if you're still interested at that point. But in any event, by the time our annual report comes out, you will have the appropriate breakdown.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Right. Well, yes, sir. Just identify yourself and turn on the.
Yeah. My name is Earl Dawkins, the caretaker for West Kingston. To get some information, first question is, for lottery, will all of this open up opportunity for new lottery company? That's question one. You mentioned about the casinos. Will the casinos be competing with local gaming companies? Or will the casinos be for tourism primarily? Yeah, that is the two questions.
All right, I'll take the second one first.
No, I would answer on the casino.
No, but
you could do on the lottery.
all right, man. Here, what no, man. We're gonna go back to basics, right?
Let's go back to this.
I are the moderator. I ask you a question, and you answer. All right?
All right.
Good. On the issue of the casino, the chairman of the casino commission is down to make a presentation, I think, within the next 30 to 45 minutes, so he can address some of those specific points. On the issue of a lottery, I mean, there's an additional lottery license that has been issued, but again, there are specific rules surrounding that. But ultimately, we as a regulator would encourage all entrepreneurs to come and take advantage of the different opportunities. So there's nothing preventing it. You just have to go and do your analysis, and if you think the value proposition makes sense, come forward, deal with the due diligence issues, and go forth and compete.
I'm saying that the opportunity is there for someone to come in with a proposition for a lottery company.
Not even just a proposition, apply for a license.
Okay.
All right? Yes, go ahead. All right? Next question.
Mr. Pierce, I don't know if it's appropriate to ask this question at this point, but I just wanted to find out, is there any likelihood there will be, I know you're planning to make the sector bigger, is there any likelihood that there will be somewhere that persons can go if there's a problem? Let's say an agent has a problem with Supreme Ventures or with Cayman Strap that they're not resolving at all.
Yes.
Is there anywhere that that person or those persons can go
Yes.
to get some help?
Yes, there is. Then you can always come to us, and we can arbitrate if necessary. All right? One more question?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
in your presentation, you made a statement about how Singapore get rid of the present gamblers.
I didn't use the word rid, but
And when you brought in casino, my understanding is that, as you know, the casino thing is controversial for years.
yes.
And the impression that we had is that it have not to do with local people. So it's not necessary for you to get rid of any local gambling if casino coming in. My understanding is that it wouldn't have nothing to do in the controversy that go on over the years before it was legalized, right? That it would have nothing to do with local people. It's my point. So I don't know if it's what happened while you told us about Singapore and how they get rid of their local gamblers because casino came. Maybe, you know,
Vin, just to be clear, right? I gave an example of how a particular country chose to go about dealing with whatever they dealt with. Just to be clear, and listen to me, the specific point is that every country has to determine how they're going to, for want of a better word, allocate licenses across different sectors. So right now the sectors, horse racing, gaming, lottery, right? So where we are now, anytime based on the number of licenses in one sector, it will ultimately impact another sector. And I give you a very recent and simple example. The great Howard Hamilton made a plea to say that the gaming industry is taking over the majority of the industry. And as such, he suggested that there is some reallocation of funds, etc. Right? So what you have, each depending on how it is slanted, it will have a financial impact. Where we are now, there are existing gaming licenses, there are existing horse racing licenses, etc., etc. Everybody is pushing to get their licenses increased in terms of in one way, shape, or the other. But at the same time, the government is trying to entice new investors into the casino environment. If you're a casino man, Vin, you're going to be saying, listen, you can't give any more licenses because every additional license you give, you're going to reduce my value. It's going to take a longer time for me to make back my money. That was a simple point I was trying to take. I was not saying that the government should take away anybody's licenses.
No, that is not my interpretation.
Okay, good.
I can't do it in Jamaica. But it brings me to a point out of that towards the oldest and the most popular. Right, 139 years I hear that it is here, could be more. Every week, 7,000 people plus meet at Cameron's. It become a part of our culture. And I saw the Supreme Venture people, I appreciate them because they took drop on into cash back and make a way for money. Like every year that they do it. But the reality is, Mr. Pierre.
Yes, sir.
Every one of these licenses become a competitor to the oldest and the most important, popular game in Jamaica. And therefore,
So you want me to take away everybody's license and leave horse racing?
No.
Oh, okay.
No.
Okay.
If we who are the most disciplined people in the world, because we wait here and 10 weeks before we get paid. I saw in Parliament with the lawmaker, they get paid the 25th, and there was a thing that came out the 24th. And the man go, we don't get paid till all 8 weeks.
Vin.
Nobody knows.
Vin.
Therefore, what I'm saying is
Right.
that there should be something come to preserve the most important industry of all you talk about
Yes.
in the country. And therefore, every time a man gets a license, a competitor to racing. This man here, Mr. Lee, Mr. Hamilton, we are the biggest stupid investor in the world. Because nobody is by Mr. Azad. Wait on their money 8 weeks and don't borrow. So something must be done with all the money that Mr. George predicted. Right? Come to our industry to preserve it.